All right, guys, welcome to the Independent Investor Channel live stream. We'll kick on a couple seconds early and let some folks have the opportunity to make their way in here. This is going to be a kind of a special live stream. I don't know. I kind of had a feeling last Friday, people were kind of down coming off of a pretty atrocious downturn in the stock market. And, there was the core group in here, but certainly felt a little bit more renewed this week on Wednesday evening when JMac Investing, he ran a good live stream with Dave with Hidden Freedom Investing. So shout outs to those guys for putting on a pretty good, keeping the fire stoked, I think is important. And I don't know, I think everybody in this particular group feels that much more armed up to really approach the stock market with some confidence. I think there's been a lot of wishy-washy going on over the last couple weeks. People selling out of positions, record outflows the day before the uptick in the stock market from its bottom. It made this Tuesday morning. That was from Goldman Sachs. They had phones ringing off the hook with people telling the brokers to get them out at any cost. They didn't care, making emotional, irrational decisions. And here's the thing, when you're going through the worst downturn or the most rapid or violent downturn in the market, certainly there's not a whole lot that you can prepare to get your mind mentally wrapped around that potential for your money. But there's a difference between being prepared to your fullest extent and being naive. Okay. I say all the time, when you approach this stock market, we are building up folks to stand in front of the stock market, stand behind your program with some level of confidence. And we've had no better opportunity than right now to reevaluate your own portfolios and ask yourself if you hold all the quality that you want to hold for this next upswing, okay? I would really encourage you guys to not be looking at the day-to-day activity specifically and see if you can't look beyond the weeks and the coming few months, because I anticipate this. There's been really no signs of let up at all. I'm happy to report to you on this Friday. So I wish I had some great news for you. Unless something has come through over the last couple hours, I've been indisposed on a project. But I'm not aware of any such news. So I think there was some selling going into the close today, as money managers aren't going to want to carry over positions throughout the weekend. They're going to want to start fresh on Monday. With that said, for the individual investor, I really think it's probably the most prudent opportunity or timing in the market to look at this time in the market and make sure that you've got those core positions. Honestly, there's probably within 30 positions that we revolve a lot of this discussion around. And if you don't have any exposure in any of those names, I would readdress and make sure that your portfolio is built for an eventual uptick in the stock market. I've been getting this question an awful lot this week. Have you seen the bottom? And I definitely threw out a quick answer on JMac Investing's live stream that was picked up by a good friend of mine, and he's in the group here as well, Chris. And I'd like to discuss a little bit more about that. When somebody asks me what I think as far as the market goes, it's a wag. Okay, my personal opinion is that the lows that were met Tuesday morning, I believe those will be the lows. And here's why. I find it extremely nauseating when we keep applying historical patterns of the market and applying those historical patterns to this particular market that we have going on right now. There's nothing similar to this situation than anything we've seen in the past. Okay, we've had a violent systemic risk creep into not only our markets, but global markets alike. With that said, we've never had such fiscal stimulus from two different perspectives, the Fed being the first one. And I think that was probably just as impactful, taking on $5 trillion of new debt. That's historical, that of which, if you guys know and follow me, throughout the history of the channel, you'll know that eventually that debt will be called. Okay, and I think in emergency situations, it's a damage control initiative to stop the bleeding. And I think there wasn't a whole lot of questions that were asked passing the stimulus bill today in record time. Why do I mention those two things? It's because for the TARP that was issued back in the financial crisis, 2008, 2009, and eventually into 10 and 11, that took quite a significant amount of litigation to get that through. 3 months, I believe, is what it took. This took all of 2 weeks. Now, is it going to make any difference at all? I believe that it will if mirrored with some level of good news. And unfortunately, we just don't have that to be provided thus far. Solutions are being worked on a lot of different fronts. PPE, vaccines, etc., that type of thing. But until we get some sort of reprieve on the numbers, the stock market is going to remain volatile and subject to further downturn. And in that particular case, we may end up testing those lows. So the question that I get all the time, have we seen the bottom yet, is an impossible question to answer. And it's one that I get all the time, and it's the most common question, and I understand it, and I don't mean to dismiss it. I really don't. But here we are, guys, with a market that's off 35 bits, and we want to focus on things that we cannot control or cannot call. It's impossible to be trying to time this market now when you've been provided a 35% discount ticket on this market. So calmly look at your portfolio, do a compulsory review over your program. You've made it this far. I really do have a sense and a pulse about this market. And it seemed to me, even today with the sell-off, I wasn't quite as reactive this week as I was last week, insofar as I thought last week and the week before were more precipitous drops, selling out of the market with no regard at all to anything sound and justified. It was just panic selling compounded with algorithmic selling, and that drove the market down, fear into the market very, very quickly. And I think the discount got baked into the stock market really, really quickly. So I've had a few folks come back to me and say, well, what's going to happen, Ryan, when these companies are going to start reporting earnings? I think it's all baked in. I really do. I don't think a company is necessarily going to be given a pass, but in some words, they will be. I really believe everything, quality or not, got drugged down with this market. And I do think a lot got priced in when it dropped down into the 18,000s there for a short amount of time. Now, if you guys were paying any attention to the market, you noticed that it didn't give you a whole lot of time to sit there and wave at it and say, hey, buy me. That's never, ever realistic. I really had to drill down and cover the market second by second to get the buy points that I got on the stocks that I entered into. I'll talk about the obvious trades that I had this week, and they were trades. They were not investments. And I want to give a little bit more of a psychological twist to and explain those trades a little bit more in depth. I think that'll help you understand how somebody like a Joe Carlson can be selling, and how somebody like myself can justify stepping in and buying the stock. I think, you know, there was a few threads, because I read through on that video of Boeing that Joe Carlson put out, and there was a few folks who were really kind of bashing him up and down. You'll hear no such thing from me. I have nothing but the highest of respects for Joe. And as far as an investing decision that he made to sell out, it was the right decision. Okay. Boeing at the time I bought it was not an investable stock. That's not the game that we want to be playing. Now, Remember what I said about reviewing your current condition. If you need to work on your cash aspect, and you need to work on your budget aspect, and you need to look at strengthening up certain areas of your portfolio that need work, lovely. Okay. I feel like I'm a little bit better candidate to take on a trade like that. Okay. Because I have spent years building up a cash buffer at the detriment of myself. I've had a lot of people say, Ryan, you've got that cash on the side. You could move it to a high interest savings account. Honestly, I made up for that and a lot more this week, just having those bullets available to me to fire at will. And that's just the way I've always operated. I typically don't leave myself so lean that I don't have any cash on the side to back up. And this was actually in the brokerage account that I made the trades in, so there will be some tax implication. That's totally fine. It'll be taxed as earnings on a short-term basis. I'm totally comfortable with that. That's fine. I think the underlying message is to really understand, people make decisions about their investing based on their strategy, okay, and based on what they're seeing at the time in a particular stock to make good investing moves. Now, I made a lot of good investing moves. The Boeing trade and buying into Carnival Cruise Lines and Norwegian Cruise Lines and Royal Caribbean, even though I like those three companies and I like the three of the best of breed airlines that I entered into, those were not investable companies at the time, nor are they investable companies now. Okay. So if you want a little bit of a takeaway within the first 15 minutes of this live stream, please don't misconstrue the opportunities that exist. Yes, here in this market, but for most investors, they really just need to be poring over their portfolio and making sure that they're chucker blocked full of as much quality as possible. Okay. I give a short shout out here to Gen X Dividend Investor. I've been diving into a couple products as I'm actually spending my employment at home, so I've actually had a few more minutes anyway to devote to a little bit more of some side projects, and the first one has been at least the start of what resembles my portfolio opportunity. So I'll just kind of show you guys what I've got here to start. I'm really happy with this. This is really cool. I heard the term Sparkline for the first time from Gen X, and that was pretty cool. But I used his spreadsheet video to walk myself through this. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. So if you ever fancied starting a portfolio spreadsheet like the one that I'm showing you here, everything that I'm displaying here on the stream, see, I got to finish this section out. This is very simple though. He actually does a great job of just running through the very simple calculations of making these cells and then putting your visual rep. I've still got some cleanup to do on this. It's fine, but I've always wanted this. I think this is great. And once I get this to a point where I'm satisfied with the product, I'll actually use this in lieu of using my accounts and the screenshots to actually demonstrate what we're working with. And I like some of these rules that he walks through. Just at an eye shot, you can actually look at your holdings here and see, I think these rules are set for the PE below 15, which is kind of a rule of thumb for, a stock that price to earnings, at least just at a glance, is looking to become a little bit more inexpensive, and then stuff over 25 highlighted in red here. So I just wanted to give that quick shout out. And then I actually became a member of the Discord chat, which I took a little bit of a test drive this week, and I found it to be pretty entertaining. I give credit where credit is due. It's pretty cool. So I never really thought I wasn't sure. I kind of hesitated, but I had a couple questions that I wanted to throw out there, and I got those answers and then some. But I thought it was a really, really cool forum of people, very robust. I've left the link in the description here for anybody interested to kick over those, as well as a couple links. I left a link to the buyupside.com because I did have a trifecta this week. I watched Gen X's new video and talked about the tax implication and the effect of compounding interest over time, which was kind of an underlying substantiation behind the dividend growth perspective. Quite frankly, for me, it was a piece of validation that I knew existed, but I didn't have it in quite that manner. So on buyupside.com, they've got the dividend compounding growth calculator, and I found it to be extremely enlightening. I actually used it to help. I actually went over it with my spouse, actually, with the intent of really understanding the opportunities that you have to enter into some dividend growth names and the importance of dividend reinvestment. We always just throw that out there as an important thing to do, but it's not until you put the numbers on the spreadsheet and really do the cross comparison that allowed me to open my eyes. I'm not going to be bashful with you guys and let you know it was pretty life-changing for me. Actually, it gave me a lot of validation, hard validation of stuff that I already knew, but it was nice to see the numbers actually. So thanks again to Gen X. I know there was a kind of a trifecta of shout outs there, but certainly J Mac and Hidden Freedom Investing. I've got Quest to Fire in the group here, who also gets a shout out for sure within the first 20 minutes of the live stream. She's actually on the front lines fighting this right now, and we're definitely in a fight. There's no doubt about it. I'm calmly monitoring the situation, and that's just how I'm going about that particular situation. But I think it's absolutely in order to acknowledge the many people who have not only fell ill, but have fell ill and haven't made it. It's kind of a scary thing for dealing with something that's that contagious and something that we don't quite have a remedy or a treatment yet, neither one. So, with that said, we come together on a Friday evening to discuss finances, and I typically try to really set the two avenues apart, as I would hope that you all would as well. I really think that your investing program should be one of those that allows you to invest it and forget it and keep your ears open and keep your awareness open for opportunities that have been presented over the last couple weeks to monitor and really try to get some good bargains in the stock market. And they're out there. Today was a little bit tricky of a day because we're kind of in that no man's land where it's marching back up to some technical resistance. And the verdict really is out whether or not the market is going to hit that technical resistance and turn south again and approach back toward that bottom that we made on Tuesday. But I will not answer that question for people. I really won't, because I can try. My answer is I think we bottomed. I do. I think there was way too much stimulus thrown at this, some for good reason and some for littler reason and some for absolutely no reason at all. So we just threw the kitchen sink at this problem. And I think the sentiment really drove the stock prices up 3,000 points on the Dow. I mean, we were up 20% from lows from Tuesday. And I actually think we may do a W recovery, but on that second leg of the W, I really don't think it's going to be as deep as the one on Tuesday. That was pretty violent. And I was sitting on the couch, and it was a little bit even disconcerting for somebody like myself. And I was staying calm, and I was forcing myself to watch it because I really did want to take a strategic shot at it. And quite frankly, that was the recipe that I needed to stay calm enough to make those positions work for me, really in the face of adversity. It was a tough thing to do. It's very tough. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's a lot easier if you have that mental preparation and the portfolio preparation for that matter. If you've done the right things to prepare yourself and not be so aggressive when the market is at an all-time high, to understand that these things are normal. Bear markets and recessions, they do come and they do go, and there will be others. There will be other opportunities, but they don't come every day. And I really hate to consider these opportunities, but within the scope of the stock market directly, they are opportunities. Okay. You guys don't come on here to hear me wishy-wash around the facts, and that is a fact. Okay. But it's just how you approach the opportunity is going to determine whether or not you can render as close to maximum benefits, guys. And don't beat yourself up if you don't get that perfect bottom. Okay. Don't do that to yourselves, because it is impossible to do. However, if you were looking ever to enter into a company like a Southern company or a realty income, see, I had to pay up for a little bit because I had my focus on some other stuff from a trading perspective. And I did leverage those trading profits and use some house money to buy some nice positions. I'll declare to you a little bit later on in the stream. But my focus really was taking a little bit of a trading initiative, and that's what I did to start. And then when the dust settles, I really didn't mind entering into the quality names like AT&T, Realty Income. Bought some Bank of America. I did pick up AbbVie. That was a tough one. That really didn't give you a whole lot of opportunity. And then I mentioned Southern Company. Now, all of these are geared toward more of a high yielding dividend opportunity in the taxable account. And I understand the qualified nature of the O in the taxable, but I just didn't have room for it in the tax protected account. So that's just going to have to do. And then CVS and Legg Mason. And there was, or excuse me, Leggett and Platt. The other names that were brought up, and if you guys are kind of looking at, if you're confused as to where to look, I tell you, when the chaos is really hitting the market, something that really helps me is to hit the trenches. Okay. Do a compulsory review of the Dividend Kings. Okay. If you know them by heart, good for you. I don't. There's some names on there that you wouldn't even be able to tell me they're Dividend Kings, but I did it. And Cisco Foods really did pull very, very well. It actually fell on my watch list. And what I'm talking about here, guys, is to just get a pen and a paper and just start marking down ticker symbols. See that? And that'll help you at least get some ideas down on some scratch paper. It doesn't mean that you're going to buy them all, but it helps you extract some of those companies. And if you're starting with the Kings and working your way down and you're like, I don't have any Coca-Cola, maybe it's a good stab to get some here. And you would have been provided to pick that up if you were really astute below sub 40. But if you were not so, if you were busy and you were doing other things, I think it would have been fine to put in a limit order at $40 and pick it up there. That would have been a great entry in Coca-Cola. That's just one example. Cisco and Stanley Black & Decker was another one that came off the Kings list, which I thought was really awesome. That was one that I missed. It came off of the mid 20s. And that would have been a doubler. So just to mention some of these companies, and I was really kind of impressed when I had that brought to my attention, somebody that's doubled their money in a matter of days using a Dividend King. My point in that is, if it really does continue to suffer, you just get long the stock and hold it through. Eventually it's going to recover. But to this investor's satisfaction, the stock turned around and doubled the money. Now, I don't know how big the position was, but just an example of how to run through those lists. Make sure you're combing over those as a good investor, right? So you don't have to approach this thing. And there's investors also just in the Discord chat that was coming across me, and they're like, "Hey, what do you think of NRZ?" And I was like, "Yeah." I'm not looking at the entire landscape here. I'm really not. I don't spend a lot of my time trying to find that bottom basement or the bargain basement thing. I'm not really looking to bargain fish unless it's super good quality. And that, quite frankly, for me, was what the Boeing trade was about, was bottom fishing, one of the crown jewels as far as companies go. For a trading position. And it was in a washout when I actually bought it. So took the stab and it worked out. And I got lucky. It's that simple. I certainly don't want anybody in the group to try to replicate that type of activity. No way. That is not what I'm trying to teach upon here. There's so much more important things to teach upon when you're talking about taking an investor that doesn't have a whole lot of experience in the market and trying to make sense of this chaos right here, because most investors would look at it and say, no, thanks, it's not for me. And you'd be justified in doing so. Honestly, it really does take a little bit of a sixth sense, a little bit, to try to weather through the storm and introduce this investing opportunity in whatever capacity fits in your life. And trust me, there was a lot of folks. If folks are selling out on the downturn, you're over levered to the market, because that is a rule that you just cannot break. It's that simple. If you're going to invest only to sell out in a market downturn, you should not be investing. Okay. If you need me to repeat that, I certainly will. But that is a takeaway that you need to plug away, memorize, write the heck down. I don't care what you need to do. But these are one of the few things that I'll stand in front of a YouTube audience and say, I'm right. Okay, I'm right. You cannot expect that the market is continually going to feed you profits. And then the second it goes down, I might add, in a violent manner, yes, jarring. Yes, I get it. But history tells us that the market is capable of doling out some 50% haircuts. Okay, so you can't be conveniently naive and start to complain about it only to pick up the phone to your broker and say, get me the hell out of the market. I can't stand this. I can't believe I did this. I'm not sleeping at night. What in the heck did I get myself involved with? You're not allowed to do that. And again, if you believe that you are accustomed or subject to that type of activity, then don't have so much of your net worth tied into the market. Okay, control that a little bit and allow yourself the opportunity to get a little bit of years and understanding and discipline and give yourself a fighting chance to succeed, because there's nothing good that's going to come out of that. Because let's say I'm right and Tuesday was the bottom and you panicked yourself out of the market. Where does that leave you? Okay, either you stay out of the market altogether, or you do what's even worse and you jump in right now in no man's land. Now, what if we do retest or go below the recent belows? Not only have you missed out on that 20%, but you're still subject to the initial losses that you had and realized in the portfolio. Now you're on the trifecta. Okay, for the W recovery. And when that's going to happen, I have no idea. I have no idea. So you can just kind of see there, if we can put a little bit of framework and safety net under everything that we talk about. Okay, if this is the one thing that you take from my channel and you're like, God dang, I sit across from this guy and he's pretty intense on investing, but what he explains about the reality in the stock market is going to be too much for me to handle. I don't think I can handle this. I can respect that. I really can. I really do. I would really love it if I could just say the right thing or wave the magic wand or give you that right piece of literature or that right book to get on or that right website to go into or that right Discord chat to provide you the support mechanism that you'll need to succeed in the market, right? Maybe you consume your content from a lot of different sources, and that helps you weather storms. It helps kind of validate your program and give you confidence to go into stuff like this. But if you're not taking advantage of those opportunities, and I fear a lot of people who are with financial planners are subject to this very thing. They almost want to keep you naive. And it's at the time of impasse and decision, you haven't built up enough tolerance to the market. And any explanation that they're going to try to give you that selling short is not what you want to do, you're not going to hear any of that, because you don't have the mental capacity to hear that holding true on this stock market is in your best interest when you've just lost the last 2 weeks' night sleeps because you think your money's going to zero. All right, guys. So super, super important to establish that framework. I want everybody in this group to understand that that safety net exists, man. And it's a rule that cannot be broken. It cannot. It just can't. Run yourself through the exercise. If you have X number of dollars exposed to the stock market, run it through an exercise and tell yourself, look, if I woke up tomorrow and I had half of my value in my portfolio, I'm not saying you would be happy about it, but would you overreact and sell everything? How would you feel about it? What type of opportunities would you be able to seek out? How prepared are you to observe your portfolio having such a severe downturn? And I tell you what, man, this reality wasn't a whole heck of a lot removed from that very scenario. So just want to make sure we're preparing as many investors out there. I just cringe when I hear those outflow reports. It's just amazing because lo and behold, the next freaking day, it shot up like a rocket ship. And there's no way you can tell me that you had enough to pick up your phone again and say, okay, I don't care what it takes. Get me back in the market right now. It just doesn't work that way, man. Once it's done, it's done. And the damage is done when you make those emotional decisions in the heat of the moment, really. And that's just activity that we need to stray away from. Okay. So want to welcome everybody, man. Again, Dave with Hidden Freedom, who was on the Wednesday live stream, did a great job. I really appreciate it. And Chris, thanks for hitting me up for that question. I hope that clarified a little bit. You know, I meant what I said to you. I don't expect that people are going to look at that and say, yep, Ryan's calling a bottom. There's a bottom with any type of, I just felt like, you know, okay, Ryan's making a call and there's an opinion there. But there is definitely a lot that goes with that. And I just don't throw it out there. I actually believe I'm right. And until I'm proven wrong, I'm right as of now. So we'll see what happens. And it'll take one small data shift in this information that we're getting to change the trajectory of where the stock market goes from here. So really appreciate it. So Bob's in the group here. Awesome. I really appreciate it. We almost sweet talked Bob into coming on to the live stream tonight, but he said he had a cough. So he was unavailable to make it on the live stream tonight. But I am going to throw an invite here into the group. There's nobody chomping at the bit to come on and share the screen with me. That's totally fine. I will sit through and do comments for you guys. So right now I'm throwing it in there. So anybody who's feeling saucy tonight, I believe tonight is the night because I'm going to get into the nitty gritty of some stuff tonight that's probably going to benefit anybody who's tuning in to the message. At least we have 117 people in the group right now, that of which you will get my utmost and best effort as I provide this opportunity for 2 hours every Friday night on the channel. And I don't think there's a lot of other information channels out there that offer this type of opportunity to come on and just discuss finances, man. So I just saw Junior Stock Investor jump on as the first one, man. That's rocking. I really enjoy that. Thank you, Junior. I appreciate you jumping in and helping me with the live stream, man. That's cool. So I can go through. I'm going to jump you in here to the stream if you've got everything set up. I'm going to put my ears on, and then I'm going to focus on some of these community folks, but I'll definitely let you address the group. What's going on, Junior? You got me okay?
Yeah, what's going on, Ryan? Can you hear me?
You got me okay?
Yep, can you hear me?
Hey, I got you loud and clear, man. How you been, man?
Good, man. Thank you for having me on. Been
Great
blessed. Happy Friday to you, man.
Man, I tell you what, this forum is built for everybody. I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's a little bit more fun for me than just sitting and rapping for 2 hours. You know, I'm capable of doing that, but I just really enjoy times like this where people can kind of come together, take a few moments of just clear discussion. Even the news media gets a little bit overwhelming, I think, and I think it's refreshing to hear other investors out there, what they're going through, you know, maybe how they're positioning their portfolio, maybe taking advantage of the opportunity. So what are you doing now, Junior? I mean, what do you think about what's going on? I know you're in kind of a hot spot, so I hope you're staying safe, man, for sure.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Yeah, I mean, overall, obviously the news that obviously, that we've been hearing throughout the weeks, more cases and everything. So I just want to give prayers out to, like I said, anybody that's been
Yeah,
affected, any friends, family.
that's right.
Um, during this time, I'm trying to stay safe. Obviously, I'm on the road, so
Yeah, you are.
always trying to stay a safe distance with people, washing my hands constantly, using wipes, sanitizer wipes. I'm actually surprised I still have some in the truck because when I go to the stores, obviously, gone. And my girlfriend actually just bought me some more um, for the next few weeks. So, um, but other than that, I've been actually buying a little bit, not too much. I bought some Disney shares. Um,
Nice.
I bought some last week um, when they were down. I think was it 82, 85, I believe.
Awesome. That's the
Yeah.
type of stuff, man. See, I can't manufacture that myself, Junior. For you to come on and say that, it really validates that value hunting, right? So if you didn't have those good companies that you can just buy and you can own forever, I mean, they'll make you wealthy over time. Now's your opportunity to get those at deep discounts. I really think you're going to look back on that and say, "Wow, that was a pretty good entry. Good job."
Oh yeah, and I mean, even though the parks obviously are down in the cruise line, Disney is, it's a moat. It's a big brand. It's been,
For real.
for years. Actually, it's funny. Last Sunday, me and my girlfriend were actually reading the story of Disney, of Walt Disney,
Yeah.
and in how he started you know um building Disney, and I never knew that Snow White was the first Princess Disney movie that he ever created. Um, and then what was I gonna say, well, Disneyland and Disney World. When I was young, I always thought Disney World was like the biggest thing, right? The one in Florida, and then
Yeah.
I never knew that he created Disneyland, which was the first theme park out in
Yes.
California.
That's right.
So that was actually dope to read that.
Which I'm
So
from the West Coast. So, like, as a kid, I remember I grew up in Oregon, man. So it was a 16-hour drive for me. And we didn't have much money when I grew up. So I remember we jumped in the family truckster and just like vacation, man, and hit I-5. And that was our thing, man, is going to Disneyland. And it was crazy. Those just great memories as a kid. I don't know. It's very few stocks you can invest in and feel like you're that connected to it. But I've always loved just being an investor in Disney. It's an easy company to own. You can buy it at 82 and you can own it at 160 and above. You know what I mean?
oh
Get
yeah.
paid the dividend. It's a great long-term holding. It's one of those top 5 stocks to own forever, in my opinion. So,
Yeah, and a lot of investors that have been watching the channel's been talking about Disney, and like I said, the Disney's the mode. It's not going anywhere. I actually have Disney Plus. I got it for free thanks to Verizon. Verizon was doing the deal. You get it for a whole year. I think it's a great company, and it just makes sense to buy it when it's that low. I don't have any fear. My account was down at 40%, and I started in October of 2019, and for me, it was just a great opportunity to buy that. I bought some AT&T shares, some
I did
Visa.
today.
So I bought some good stocks that were down at their lows.
Well,
So
what was your do you mind sharing the entries that you had on Visa and Verizon? You bought Verizon, right?
no, I bought AT&T. I didn't buy Verizon because I had
See,
a
I bought
lower cost basis at 55. So
I see. I
yeah,
see. Yeah, I bought AT&T today, actually. It just fit really well. I own Verizon within the retirement account, but I went ahead and bought that AT&T really for the dividend. Sub 30 is what I got it for. I think you probably did better than I did because, like I said, I was focused on some trading activity when the volatility was really high. When
hmm
everybody was like, holy crap, this thing's going to zero. I was stepping in and doing a little bit of strategic buying, and it was nice. It was a $15,000 week for me, so it was good. I rendered my biggest trade ever this week in Boeing. I actually liquidated the position today. I got out of the position that it was always just a short position for me, and I traded it twice. The first time was just a clean $1,000 profit, and that gave me a little bit of buffer to enter back into it when it went sub 100, and
yeah.
and then exited the position at 165 today.
I actually
So
have Boeing in both my traditional account and taxable account. And when it went all the way down to 95, I really wanted to obviously buy some more shares, but I did the smart thing and paid off my private student loan, which was at 3,000, and I got my income tax. around that same range, and I paid it off actually 2 weeks ago. So I'm done with all my private student
Congrats.
loans.
Dude, that
Thank you,
feels way
man.
better. Hey, and that's the cool thing, man. What you just said really validates what I said because it was a trade. And I did mention at the top, there was another channel creator who I hold in the highest regard. Joe Carlson is a really good channel
Yes.
creator. He's one of the best. I think Gen X and Joe Carlson are the two best. I think they're putting out the best content on YouTube, bar none. They're the top two, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
he
actually
sold
saw.
out.
Yeah. I actually saw his video on that, and
Yes.
for him that's his reason. I'm perfectly fine with that. If he feels like, you know, and
See for him, it was a better investing decision. That's the irony in the whole thing is it made perfect sense for him because the real takeaway there is an investor that's super, super devoted to what they believe in their program, and he sticks to a program. And he always said through the course of the channel, if the company cuts the dividend or suspends the dividend, I'm gone. I'll move on to
mhm,
something else. And there was no reason for, and it was a smaller position for him, so it really didn't matter too much. He said he'd take a little bit of tax loss on it, a little bit of tax credit, for claiming the loss and move on. I thought it was awesome decision. I just found it
oh, yeah.
interesting how he got a little bit of heat for it. It was like, oh, it's going to this, it's going to that. What do you do? Like, dude,
Yeah.
it's amazing to me how many people like know what's going on when the truth of the matter is nobody knows. Nobody knows. I just respect you a little bit more if you said, hey, maybe I don't know, you know, like
Yeah.
maybe it'll work out, maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I tend to stray away from that definitive talk because this market is something else. And I've never seen anything like it in my time. I just want to make sure that all the investors are kind of doing what you're doing, looking at your stuff and saying, man, if I can improve on these 1, 2, 3, 4 areas, then there you go. I'm good for it. And I think you did really well for yourself. I really like the Visa pickup. That's my favorite in fintech. That's my
Yeah.
biggest and only. I have a smaller
That's a
position in PayPal, but I'm not really that big on PayPal as everybody else. No.
and that's those are positions, Disney, Visa, those are ones I'm not selling for a long, damn near almost here 30 years. So those are positions I want to hold for the long run. So
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and then my dad actually just was finally able to get his 401k because he's been having problems during this whole week. Obviously everybody in that 59 and a half range are trying to take out of the 401k, and he's been having trouble. And he actually works at Red Lobster, so he's obviously unfortunately been laid off right now.
What?
Obviously with all the restaurants being hit. So he's staying positive though. So
Yeah, man.
I've been talking to him, and I love him, man, because he's always like, every time I come in, he's like, "Hey, I'm just trying to get this money, man. I want to go to Haiti. He wants to go back.
Go home.
And yeah,
Go
he's
home.
building the house there. Yeah, go home, build his house,
Freaking right.
and he finally got the phone call, so they'll mail him his 401k. So I'm
Yeah.
happy for him.
I'm sure like we're getting messages, everything's kind of jammed up right now for services and stuff. So God, good on him, man. That's awesome. I just hope everything works out for everybody.
Yeah.
I know some people have probably been caught off guard. I mean, I was caught off guard, but I was prepared for something. I'd be lying if I sat here and told you that I was prepared for this because I was strategically buying when the market was down 25,000, on the
Hmm.
Dow and starting to really creep in. And I really went to the last degree to kind of get those last remaining dollars in there, always trying to buy low. And then I dipped into my brokerage account because I was like, I'm out. I've got to take advantage of this.
Oh
And
yeah, and I actually have my girlfriend. She's actually rolling over her old 401k, and we're actually gonna roll it over to a Roth for M1 Finance. So she
right.
she actually told me, she's like, "Oh my God, the market's back up. Is it even a good time to buy?" I was like, "We could put just a little bit, and then if it goes
Yeah.
down, we average down." So she's excited. She's got some good stocks, some Netflix, um, Facebook, Amazon, Visa,
Okay.
Disney.
Okay.
So these are all stocks I told her about, and it's all obviously a buy and hold, and so
Yeah.
she's excited. But she at first she was like, "Oh, is it even a good time?" Because we've been waiting for the check, so I think it should come next week. And without obviously yesterday and the day before with the market going up, but I told her, I was like, "No, this is still good to invest."
It is. Starting's the hardest thing. You
Yeah.
know, starting is just that. I think I put a lot of stock in starting. I mean that tongue in cheek. I mean that as an analogy. So many people will talk about investing and they'll never start. And that is the prerequisite to becoming an investor. Okay. Hate to speak in obvious terms, but that's a hard thing for somebody to do. But to step into the market here at a 35% or a 30% discount, I don't know where it leveled off today. I, I, I would be excited. I mean, I
Oh
was
yeah.
excited. I see. I've lived through this downturn. I've lived through multiple downturns, and I've been super excited at this opportunity, actually. And I was glad I had some dry powder. I wish I would have deployed it in a little bit more patient manner, but to my credit, I just didn't know. And to everybody's credit, it kind of snuck up on everybody, and it just kept on, piling on. I mean, we went from almost 30 to 20 in like days.
Oh
It
yeah.
was just, so yeah,
And
I
then
think go ahead,
no,
Junior.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I was gonna say,
Hmm.
and obviously, for your experience, you did the correct thing. You bought. You didn't wait for the bottom. I don't know why anybody wanted to wait until the bottom because you can never time the bottom, right? If there's a discount there, why don't you nibble at it, right? You don't have to go heavy. Nibble at it. If it goes down lower, be
Yeah.
happy. That's a sale. Maybe my mindset's a little different because as a first-time investor, I feel like this is easy stuff for somebody that just investing. Usually, a lot of people get scared and will sell off a position. Like my portfolio was down 40%. Most new investors would have sold out, and I was like,
Yeah. Oh,
for
yeah.
me, it's like it doesn't make any sense because these are discounts, right? Like buy when it's low. I don't know. Maybe I've been reading a lot of books and maybe listening to too many videos as I'm driving to Hershey Park in
No,
Pennsylvania or
sir.
somewhere
No,
far
sir.
in New
Not
York.
at all. No. And I just think you have to have an understanding. You see, what you're doing is you're defining a range of possibilities in your investing portfolio. Like your invested dollars are acting like invested dollars. You've heard me say that many times. And I just think that it's easier to say that, but when you experience it, it really hits home. And you can say, you know what? Wow, I went through the worst downturn in the stock market in 2020, and I lived to fight another day. I put some strategic. I wish I could have done more, and that's the
Yeah.
thing that you'll look back and you'll say, what I'm so glad I did that, man. I wish I would have done more because I'll do the same thing. I will. I'll be looking at it and being like, gosh, what was I thinking? This and that. Um, but yeah, this week was good for me. It was some good trading profit, and then I leveraged those trading profits into some really good stocks. I picked up 9 different stocks. Some telecom, AT&T, AbbVie. Picked up Realty Income, which I'm
Yeah.
liking everything that I'm researching on it. It takes me a long time to spend the time and deliberation of research, and I don't mind buying into a good stock like that. All the ratings were off the charts on O, and for the people who got it at the really discounted entry, I think Matt Money's in the group. I just saw, yeah, I did. He's here. I think Matt got a really good entry on both O and Southern Company. So I think if I were just going to have a little bit of fun, if your fiance is looking to get involved in investing, I would don't be afraid to enter into some of those old, boring, good dividend blue chip stuff. They're
Oh
easy to
yeah.
become investors. Even Facebook right here. I own a smaller piece of that. I own a smaller piece of Netflix and a smaller piece of Amazon, but relative to the total overall portfolio, it's mostly comprised, Junior, of those good dividend paying companies, man, like Home Depot, Apple, Microsoft,
Yep.
companies like that they're the cornerstones, man. It's the flagship name of my company, Cornerstone Capital Solutions. That's what I'm talking about. You got to have those cornerstones in that portfolio that really bind it and hold it together. And those are those companies, man, that you just own them forever. It's that simple, and makes
And for
investing
me,
easier.
though, it's I have a Coca-Cola, I have
Nice.
Johnson and Johnson. So I guess
Nice.
the quote unquote boring companies, there's nothing boring about making money, and they pay
Nah, man.
consistent dividends for 50 years. For me, it's just common sense as a no-brainer. And those are products that I use too personally. Obviously, Johnson Johnson, with Listerine, Benadryl, um, with Coke. I don't try to drink too much Coke because I am getting older now, so I
I
gotta
don't
drink more
either.
water.
That's all I do. Well, I'm drinking green tea tonight. This is my live stream concoction right here. My
Yeah,
my green tea, man. But I do drink. Oh yeah, I do have some
this is
wine.
my healthy drink right here. Yeah,
Yeah,
some
having some
wine.
wine, man. Absolutely, absolutely. But I think J&J Junior is number one. I think
Oh
if
yeah,
there
that's
was any investors out there, man, that were looking to take an entry, you could have got J&J. I believe it got all the way down into the mid, like 115
115.
level.
Yeah, it did.
I
Yeah, I
believe
believe
so.
so.
And that would have been a phenomenal entry off of its high of 146 ish. That would have been
Yeah.
phenomenal. That J&J is always number one for me. Technology, I really love Apple and Microsoft, and then I love the bigger established. I do invest in IBM. I missed Intel, and I did invest in Cisco. Cisco would have been another good pickup here, but for Apple and Microsoft, technology can be a little bit more violent in their
Yeah.
price movements. Whereas J&J, man, I just don't think there's a finer company out there than J&J. I really don't.
That's
So good on you.
that's my number one holding in my traditional IRA. So that's me.
Smart.
Obviously, I'm gonna hold that until years. I'm 33 now, so I have years
That's
until I even.
that's right. You're young, man. You're so lucky. You're so lucky. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm in that middle age because I'm not old, but I'm not that young either. But my girlfriend thinks I'm a lot older. She always says, "Oh, you act so old. You act like you're 45 and you're." I'm like, I've been driving
Yeah,
all day, 13 hours.
yeah. But the
I was at.
truth is, man, you 32. You own that. You own
Yeah.
that. I'm 42, and
Oh man, you were
hey,
right there.
man, life gets better as you get older, man. I tell you, that's part of this project too. Is a lot of my desire to give back, and because man, there's just a lot of people that need help. It's reassuring
Yeah.
to hear you talk about your investing. I gave Matt Money a comment, I think, on one of his videos a while back. I just was amazed at 28 years old how
Oh
impressed
wow.
I am with the investing maturity, and that stuff's rare. So I'm always trying to dig a little deeper and understand where that pedigree comes from. You know, because like you said I just don't know if I think different, and I feel the same way. What creeps into a lot of people's minds to justify selling out sure as heck wasn't in my vocabulary. I was looking at other things. I was looking at opportunity. I'm looking at taking positions that were going to pay off 5-10 years down the line, and then also looking for what I do. I mean, I'm pretty good at my trading opportunity. I'm pretty good at picking opportunities like that and leveraging them up a little bit. And I was satisfied with the activity this week for sure.
And what you mentioned with Matt Bean, I didn't know he was 20. Wow, they're young. I mean, him,
Yeah,
Nate O'Brien, I follow. I think he's 21.
Nate's
And there's
awesome.
two, yeah, and there's two other guys that I follow. They're both from Canada. I believe they're in their early 20s. I gotta
Yeah,
look at their
Ali,
names.
Ali.
Uh, Ali and I just forgot the other guy's name, but
Um,
they're
I think. Well,
one
Monk
has,
the Monk Way is a good channel, but it's animated and it's a financial
yeah.
channel and it's legit. But I think I know who you're talking about. I used to follow him. To be honest with you, I'd be hard pressed to catch our core groups videos every now and then. I'm just way too indisposed all the time. I have a
Mm,
really hard time. Um, and just this last week, I've had some time and I've been like, finally, because I really do mean to go back because I think the best education right now on YouTube for free is the Gen X Dividend Investor
yeah,
Series. If you have
yeah.
the
I watched
time to
his
go back,
series. Yeah,
hey man, a lot of people will pay thousands and thousands of dollars for that material. Let's be real. I'm just a realist like that. I just that's the way of it. A lot of people
I actually.
justify paying thousands of dollars for that good material, and it's incredible material.
No, his channel is really good. He breaks everything down, and he actually, I think I commented him a couple weeks ago. He talked about ways to I guess the title was to be a millionaire. I guess ways to like save and do things, and there was one aspect where he talked about your credit card, right? If you have reward points, and the reward points you get, if you get the cash value of it, use that to invest. So
Oh
if
yeah.
you obviously go grocery shopping, things of that nature, you know how much you're going to spend. You use the credit card, right? Get the reward points, get the cash from the reward points, and invest that into your portfolio. And I was like, oh, that's so smart. Like I've been holding on to all these points, and back then I used to go on vacations a lot, and now I can use that a little bit of that reward points and put that in cash in my portfolio. So, and they like his channel is really good. I watch his channel a lot.
Yeah.
Joseph Carlson, I watch his. Obviously yours. There's a lot of these guys, and a lot of young investors that are they have a great mindset. They have that old school mindset of just buy and hold. They're in their early 20s. Man,
Exactly.
I wish what if I was my early 20s, I would substitute a night of drinking at the bars and clubs and put that, I mean put that in my portfolio, all those New York
Hey,
nights in Philly. Well, I
there,
live I'm
there's
in
some
that
of that that's
tri-state
what.
area, so
Come on, every now and then, man, you got to do good. You got to do good for yourself, man. I don't regret a thing, man.
yeah,
I've
I
been
remember
at all
last
that.
week you talked about the how you love New York. You went to the St.
Yeah,
Patrick's Day parade back in the day.
yeah,
I used
man.
to love going there, man. It
It's
was
just
you know
insane, man. And that's what kind of I don't know, man. It kind of breaks my heart a little bit. It really does. It just is scary to me. The stock market, blah blah, like whoop de doo. That's a money thing, and that doesn't phase me. What phases me is seeing Times Square in the condition that it's in right now. That
yeah.
phases me a bit, and it's gonna feel real good when we come out of this on the other end. I guess I just wish that we could come together tonight and say, hey, that there's some level of good news.
Mhm.
I haven't seen such good news just yet. You guys are going to just have to keep on fighting. That's it. You're just going to have
Yeah.
to fight. New Yorkers fight. There's no doubt about
They
that. But you guys are up against it on this one, and that I'm just not
it's
going to sugarcoat it. It's bad.
it's been it's been tough. Governor Como, I feel like he's doing everything he can to try to bring some more supplies over there. I was watching a video last night with my girlfriend. A buddy of mine shared it to me, and I believe it was a doctor from Elmhurst, New York, was talking about the conditions at one of the hospitals. They had to get a frozen trailer to put dead bodies in. There's
Yeah,
patients sharing ventilators. Like it's to the point where it's like
yeah,
they don't have enough supplies, enough staff,
yeah.
and it's just New York. Obviously you've been there. It's so congested. It's a big city, but there's way too many people in these boroughs,
I know, man.
and these
We
cases. I have
had
a buddy of mine that lives in Brooklyn. He's quarantined right now. So
what the freak, man? Yeah, I
yeah.
when I was in Staten Island, we were talking with my wife, and it was like, man, we can't get sick here. There's one hospital, bro. I went one time with my daughter, and it was so
Mhm.
packed and I can only imagine how bad it is right now. It's got to be like hell.
It's really bad. They actually, my job is that's another story. But they actually took me. Well, I had to do a delivery out in the Long Island region in West Babylon and Oyster Bay too. So it wasn't too bad. But the thing is, there's no traffic, and to never see traffic in New York City in the morning on a weekday is absolutely rare. Like that never happens. Like when I went out there, I came, on the way back to Jersey, there was no traffic, and there's always bumper to bumper traffic on a regular day for 2 to 3 hours. I was able to drive from Long Island back to Jersey within an hour, and that's unheard of. That's how bad it is over there. Everyone's, obviously trying to stay safe, quarantine, and it's just my heart breaks out for a lot of New Yorkers. Pretty much, obviously, anywhere, anybody, everywhere in any state, any country, because it's really bad. And for people to say that it's not true, it's fake. Those people just are
What?
ignorant, and yeah, there's a
Ah,
lot of people are saying that it's not real. It celebrities are getting paid to say they have the coronavirus. Like it, it's just the world we live in, man. It's just people don't have any sense to know what's real and not,
yeah,
and
I'm not
for
like,
people to say that, it's dangerous.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
Like getting into that like blame game and all that stuff, man. People are not making it. It's that simple. It's a humanitarian crisis. And the irony in the whole thing, Junior, is like the majority of people get it. Like I will continue to live my life and believe that very fact. It's just the few people that kind of cast a little bit of a dark shadow, that of which you talk about. I agree with you. I do, because it's just like, man, where's your head at? Just how about you not say anything? You know,
Yeah.
you're not
It's
helping at all. You know.
yeah. So like, anybody, And community, if like I said, my prayers go out to anybody that knows a good friend or family. I actually have a good friend that was tested positive for the coronavirus. So
Jesus, man.
it's tough, man. But the good thing is to just hold on to your loved ones. You're at home now working. You're with your wife and kids. I know you're enjoying every minute. Enjoy that. Enjoy
Yeah.
the present.
Oh, yeah.
Forget about. I always tell people, forget about the past and don't even worry about too much in the future. Enjoy what's going on now because we always overlook what's going on now, the present time. Enjoy those times with your family and friends. If you can get a chance, everybody in the community, maybe do a Zoom or video chat with friends, family, see how they're doing.
Exactly. Yep.
Because some people, I'm sure a lot of people that are being quarantined, are probably feeling it right now, not able to talk to or be with loved ones like we usually do on the weekends and stuff. So I
Exactly.
was actually talking to a buddy of mine. Tomorrow we're gonna do a Zoom. Me and about four other guys. We'll probably have some drinks. We'll just all talk, see how we're doing. So
Nice, man. That's the way to
yeah,
do it. So you're saying buy Zoom stock?
I should
No.
I should have bought. I almost bought Zoom stock when it
That
was
was a
at
nice
seventy
tie-in.
one
I'm just
dollars.
saying that. Yeah, 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 yeah. This
I
is the
should.
world. This is where we're going. Like, because
Yeah,
I can be almost as productive at home as I can in the office.
yeah.
I'm pretty productive
That's
at
a
home, you know.
blessing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
that's a
blessing.
blessing,
You got to
man.
have the right connection and all that jazz, but for the most part, it's doable. I'm not saying I want to do this for months on end because I'm more productive in the office,
Hmm.
and there's some level of like, you know, presence. I'm in the military, so that it's nice to for society to see that going on and that we're representing and doing the right thing for the country. But for the meantime, it never hurts to understand what we can do when we hunker down with our capability. So,
I salute you and your services. And
yeah,
and
glad to do it. A lot of people, the people killing it right now are the ones on the front lines. There's no doubt about it.
yes,
They're in the trenches, baby. They're in the trenches. Yeah, they're fighting.
I
Yep.
also heard Mark Cuban, he's actually going to be paying his arena employees, and he's
Yeah.
also working with a
Yep.
couple basketball players. They're going
Yep.
to be paying daycare for any
Yeah.
health workers. I thought
Doesn't
that was
surprise me.
awesome, man.
Doesn't surprise me, actually. I hold him in high regards. I think politically we differ on a few things, but as far as
Hmm.
doing that type of thing, like he's very consistent with his message, and he talks the talk and he walks it as well, and he gets to do it through his company with the Mavs. I think it's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised, but I was very proud to hear that. There's a lot of that going on, man. There's a lot of that going on. There's some companies stepping up right now doing some amazing stuff. Bill Gates, this is kind of where the philanthropy gets to step forward. I'm wondering where Warren Buffett, if anything, if those guys to step forward and do some crazy stuff. Donation of masks. Major League
Hmm.
Baseball is doing some donation stuff.
Yeah.
It's gonna ramp up even more. Like we're going to battle. There's no doubt about it. And there's no challenge that I wouldn't put against at least this country that I can speak about. I can't speak about others, but I will definitely put this country up against it if they're going to bring it for sure. And
Oh
we're in
yeah.
it. We really are. But
Absolutely.
did you start a channel, Junior, by chance?
No, I haven't. It's been tough, man. I'm not gonna lie. In the future, I definitely want to start a channel. It's been tough with the hours I have at work, and obviously spending time with my girlfriend. So one day I will. I would like to partner with somebody. I wouldn't mind partnering with somebody. Um, Actually, my buddy of mine from New York, I've talked to him. When everything settles, maybe one day he can help me out. But I wouldn't mind partnering with anybody. Because I'm not a selfish guy. I don't mind sharing the spotlight with anybody. I like to
Well,
talk. I'm a
that's
people
kind of what
person, so
that's kind of what this opportunity is, honestly. I expect people, channel creators, and I miss some every now and then, but I always give those shout outs right at the top because as we get deeper in the stream, like right now, I don't make money off of these live streams. Okay, let's be real. I don't. I do this for the community. And so I layer up and I do it for initially the channel creators. I've always done that. As we started to get folks filtering through. Like now we've got a really good core group of channel creators. I just saw Jerry pop in here. I'll throw him up on the screen. That's kind of what this opportunity is about. And I don't mind doing that because the idea is that we get a bunch of like-minded investors who, when you're out there, in the field, or you're at your work, or you're working with friends, whatever, and you're talking to family, you can be like, somebody can be like, hey, Junior, you're an investor. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And you can be like, yeah, man, here's what it means to me. Here's why I do it. And I think there needs to be a source of that awareness. And I'm, growing up for me in investing, I got it out of books and newspapers. That's it. This didn't exist, man. I remember when Google came public with Sirius satellite radio the same year. They both came.
Should have dropped 1,000 on it when it first came out.
Well, I just dropped 10,000 on Boeing this week. So yeah, with the mentality that I have now, see, that's the give back, is now people can tune into me and be like, what's Ryan doing? Maybe you can pick up on some of that mentality early on in life. And you kind of alluded to that. There's a lot of younger investors out there that get it. They get it.
Yeah,
and for the few that do, I'm all about it, man. I salute that. If you can get that activity earlier on, because I didn't when I was in my 20s. I didn't. We all go through it. At least me. I learned from making a lot of mistakes, and I think the give back is to get some of those younger folks on the path to financial freedom as early as they can, doing it in some of the ways that we talk about on the channel, for sure. But I had to ask.
And I was gonna say, it's always okay to learn from your mistakes. That's the only way we learn. We learn more from our failures than our success. So there's nothing wrong with that. With the young investors, they have such an advantage, though. They have everything on apps now, and you can make a buy order within a snap of a finger. Information's quick.
As long as it's leveraged in the correct way. Sometimes too much power can be problematic. I think Robinhood is a good example of that. I really do. I think the masses really need to be focused on getting that retirement started. And once you have the opportunity to fund that up to $6,000 a year, which is a lot, it was for me when I started. I wasn't max funding my Roth. I just started doing that within the last 5 years. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, man. When I started, I was doing $25 a month, man. But to get started in that correct account, I think Robinhood really it misguides a lot of new investors, and they get kind of caught up in the free trading aspect, and they lose a little bit. I'm seriously considering dropping both of my affiliates with the channel. I may keep M1 Finance because they offer the Roth, but as far as first trade goes, that's kind of a dead avenue as far as I'm concerned. It really is. And I won't endorse it anymore if I feel like the landscape has opened up so much. Why wouldn't you just go with a TD Ameritrade or a Fidelity or an M1 Finance, or, some of those companies that give you a unique product? Now, the real drawback with M1 Finance is I wouldn't have been able to trade the way I did this week on M1 Finance. And that's the reality of it. And what I just said for the group here, that's legit. And it was part of my initial criticism of the platform. I know it's easy. I know it's cool, but cool doesn't pay the bills with me. Their trading window for me is a real deficiency. And if you're going to try to trade stock with M1 Finance in this volatile market, good luck. Yeah. You can't do it. It's a passive investing platform at best. But I contend that, look, it's sometimes nice to have the opportunity. Why not be provided that opportunity? Keep it in your back pocket. Don't take advantage of it. But I think a lot of people are hitting the sell button on Robinhood, creating taxable events, and they don't even know that they are.
That bill is going to be high next year.
Crazy. I've been there, done that, Junior. It's a mistake I made, and hopefully by offering what I do, it can make people think and be like, wow, why is Ryan so down on Robinhood, man? There's 10 million other people that do it. It must be good. No. You need to learn to think for yourself, okay? There are other options out there, and I would really look at the major brokers to start. Again, M1 Finance is just kind of a weird side thing. I've got 2 accounts with them. I like them. They're a cool platform. Their mobile app is cool. It's cool. And the real takeaway for me with M1 Finance is that they offer retirement accounts. So if you can start that retirement account and you can invest in the way that you're doing with some good quality companies in there, allow those dividends to roll back into the portfolio, fund that portfolio up, great. You're using it in the capacity that you'll use a Schwab account or a TD Ameritrade or whatever. It doesn't matter. You're growing wealth in the correct way. You're just using M1 Finance as the conduit to the market, and that is good. But you just got to make sure that your investing style with M1 Finance, Junior, is the only one, in my opinion, that works. You're just not going to be able to trade in that capacity. And if you feel like you ever wanted to get into a little bit more flexibility, I'm telling you what, man, it's nice to be able to, do what you want, when you want, how you want, at any time of the day, even after hours. I mean, some of those trades I made this week, man, I rendered profits after hours. So that capability to have, you might as well have it. Look, at 32, you may just be like, hey, I hear what Ryan's saying. I'm be a passive investor. I like that. But maybe later on down the line, when you start to roll with some really, really good, the portfolio builds up into something, maybe you want to take a trading stab. It's nice to have that capability, and it's a big capability, things to think about.
I'm definitely looking at Fidelity too, in the future, to open up a Roth. And then, God willing, if I have any kids, I want to open up a Roth, a custodial account, like Jamie mentioned when we all talked a couple weeks ago. I definitely want to do that. And maybe put like a Disney for them, because that's something they'll understand, and maybe another fund stock. And then when they get to was it 18, they're able to go in and then deposit or tap in if they want.
It depends on what the custodial account. It depends on what state you're in. It's either 18 or 21, and they just my kids have them as well. And I just invest in VTI. That's it, just the ETF.
Oh I have that as well. That's a good index.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's awesome. See, that's the stuff. If you looked at it and said, I'm down 40%, is now the time to double up. See, I doubled up my spider portfolio. I had $2,500 in there, relatively manageable position. So it would have been different had I had like 10 or 20 or whatever thousand in there, took this haircut. Now doubling up at 5 or 10,000, that's a lot of money. But be able to take that 2,500, now I'm rolling with 5,000, discounted 35%. I'm just going to watch it. I'm an investor in the 11 sectors in that small portfolio.
Yeah, and with those indexes, those are ones you don't sell until obviously you get to that point where you get a lot older. I actually have VTI with my portfolio with my taxable account. I like that they have 3,500 holdings, right? 3,500 companies with the large cap, small cap, and mid cap.
Yeah,
VTI.
Yep. I think so. 3,800, something like that. Total stock market ranging from small all the way to large capitalization. Yeah. It's a good.
VOO is also good too. The
S&P
500. Oh yeah. I didn't even have a drink and I almost forgot. I didn't have a sip yet.
I don't even have a drink. I stopped doing that, man, Junior, because I'd get to the second hour and I'd be like forgetting what I want to say. Like I can stay on point, man, like on this live stream, and I feel like I have to, after I'm done, man, I'm like mentally, because
you drink hard liquor or?
Oh yeah, definitely bourbon, and I do like beer, but I tell you what, man, I ran with the family today. We went outside and ran. I ran, and the kids ran the bike, and my wife rode the bike, and it just seems like, God, that good beer nowadays, it's fattening. Damn, it's got to be bad for you. But wine, I love a good wine, good red wine. You're drinking white, but
white's smooth.
But my favorite is bourbon, no doubt about it. Yeah.
Bourbon. Oh, yeah. I'll drink some scotch. It's been a while though. And I drink IPA beers. I love IPA beers. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've actually had it's the brewery out in San Diego. We have it out here, Ballast Point. I drink Ballast Point, Stone IPA. And where I live in New Jersey, we have so many craft beers. I'm talking just thousands and thousands of different I mean, it gets the job done. It's like 7%. It's good. They got like different flavors.
Exactly.
But if I had an IPA beer, I'll be passing out right now. I wouldn't even be able to talk to you for 5 minutes. I would be out.
Yeah. I feel like I've got some level of obligation. Like before, there was a stint there where I'd come on and have my bourbon, during the live stream. I haven't done that for a while, just because you know, maybe some people get the wrong message or something. So I wait. I just, you know, hey, I just take on a touch of responsibility during the stream for me. That's just for
Oh
me.
yeah.
If I
Yeah.
had it my way, I'd drink during it. But you know, hey, if there's somebody that can come to the message and really be transformed in what I have to say, I take that seriously, you know, because this 2 hours for me, man, it goes by so fast, so fast. It just
Yeah.
and hopefully
Well,
we're getting to people, you know.
yeah, I told him I would have came on last week. I was so tired on Friday. I had a long day, and I was telling my girl I was gonna go come on last week, but I passed out like 8 o'clock at night. I was so tired. I had an early day last Friday, but I told her I was like, I'm gonna go on tonight. She's actually just watching movies now, so you know, I told her I'll just talk on this, and then maybe in the next couple weeks or so, because I don't want to be that guy that comes in every week. I think it's gonna be, I don't want to hog up any time.
I try
I
to
would
do
love for
that.
anybody else to come too.
I know, but I told J Mac, I said I'd come on every week, but I don't want to be that guy either, you know, because
Yeah.
I just love talking finances, man. To be honest with you, it has nothing to do with, you know, uh, building a YouTube empire. That is freaking not in my. I just really do naturally enjoy stock market talk,
Oh yeah.
especially during times like this, you know. So, but
Yeah, there's some people that do a channel every day, like literally every day. I don't know. I mean, some people can do it now because a lot of them are working at home, but even like when everybody was working, at the regular job, some people, I'm not gonna give any names, but there's one particular person. He's good at some things, but he'll be on every day. He'll talk about that same particular stock. If you
yeah,
know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
But
yeah,
he
yeah.
does have some good insights. The one that I do like he talks about is Facebook. Like when he always says Facebook's undervalued. I do believe Facebook's undervalued, but that one particular
It is.
stock, if you know what I'm talking about, he talks about it heavy
Yeah,
every time.
yeah. Yeah, and it's weird too, Junior, too. And I hate to be, you know, that's why I am very aggressive on calling out who I think is the best channel. Now, Joe Carlson is flirting with 100,000, but Gen X Dividend Investor I think has about 4,000, which means nothing to me. It means nothing to me because I think he's number one, and I do that for a reason. I just do that for a reason to drive home the point of quality
Yes.
and not just quality, but because you can be the best investor and you can have the best YouTube channel. You know, Graham Stephan is an awesome channel. It's very clean. It's a clean delivery. It's just the thing about it is I judge a channel based on its ability to have somebody sit across from it and really learn. And that's not necessarily why people tune into YouTube. A lot of people tune into YouTube to be entertained. And so we're looking at this gig a little bit contrary to what YouTube was designed for. You know what I mean? Even though I do contend that if people want to know how to do something, they can come on and do it. And Jeremy's really good at entertaining. You know, he's
Yeah.
charismatic. You know, he's got that personality. And actually, I do give some credit where credit is due. I've watched Jeremy evolve ever since he started. Okay, like I started a long time ago on YouTube. So I was part of that original crowd that started, and that's fine. Um, but I've watched Jeremy evolve in his investing perspective, philosophy. You know, he went through some hard times, and I give him a lot of credit for going through that and emerging on the other side. And I think he's one of those investors that would go through a downturn like this and hold true. I really do.
Oh yeah.
At least the pulse I get, you know, he's got that kind of maturity. So if people are taking that message and saying, hey, if he's holding true and Ryan's holding true and Nate's holding true and all these guys are holding true, Ryan Scribner, why am I thinking about, you know, selling out right now? Maybe I need to think twice about this decision. You know, maybe it doesn't feel right to stay the course, but you know, all this YouTube community is doing a pretty good job of not breaking these golden rules. And that's, I explained it at the top of the stream. That's just something you cannot do. And so I do give credit where credit is due. As long as the message is being received, you know,
Hmm.
by the, and I just think you have a responsibility to acknowledge that. I really do. And
And you made a key point. You said quality stocks, quality, not the ones that are going to give you the highest return in short term and then they're going to cut their dividends within 5 years. Quality stocks are going to consistently pay the dividends. When we
yeah,
go through a downturn like what we're going through now, they have a strong balance sheet, good cash flow,
that's
able to
right.
pay their dividends. That's
Yeah,
I don't care if people say it's boring or not. There's nothing boring about making money. I don't care what anybody says. It's boring. That's
yeah,
fine with you. I'm
that's
good with
right.
making money consistently.
Well
I know
said.
they're going to be able to pay the dividends, low debt ratio,
Yeah,
good payout ratio, just
yeah.
simple things like that.
I think
That's
J
the company I want to invest in. I'm sorry.
I think JMac had thrown into the group there that payout ratio less than 50%. I think in looking at your stuff, I think O Realty was the one that I looked at. I think their payout ratio is relatively high. But for the
Hmm.
rest of them, I'm not sure what the payout. I know Gen X knows this off the top of his head, but I didn't look at what T was. I just knew I wanted to enter at sub 30. It was a no-brainer for me. No need to sit there and, deliberate all day over a stock that I know I'm going to buy,
Yeah.
and that's what I did. But you're absolutely right, man. You hit it on the head. CBS was another position I took a stab
Oh
out
yeah.
here.
A lot of people have
Uh,
been taking CVS. Yeah.
yeah, and AbbVie I took a position in, but I wasn't that happy with my entry. But I bought it anyway because I wanted it. So,
Yeah,
but
I have Johnson and Johnson, so they're the pharmaceutical drug company, so I'm
yeah,
okay with that. But I mean, CVS,
definitely
I think it's good value right now. I do have Realty O too. I have that in my traditional IRA. I mean,
awesome.
that's a company. The price right now is amazing. That's a company that's pay monthly dividends. They have good tenants. Was it Walmart? Um, they have LA Fitness, Walgreens. So it's
Nice.
it's it's good. And I just forgot what I was gonna say. Maybe I've been drinking too many wine. I just forgot.
You're just drinking wine, man. Come
I
on.
know I didn't. It's been a it's been a while. I was actually at a Hershey, Pennsylvania. So I was at the Hershey plant over there,
Yeah.
and it was dope, man. When you go in, you smell the fresh chocolate, see all the workers there, and I'm like, I want
Yeah.
to work at a job like that, man. I'll always be happy,
I know, man. Exactly. For
never
real.
be miserable.
So Adam Jones says I still use Robinhood but never sell. See, I know folks that use it like that. And
Hmm.
Nate O'Brien is one. I think Nate uses Robinhood and he has ever since the beginning. And I've been quick to say, look, if you're going to use it in a passive opportunity, great.
Oh
It's the
yeah,
same capacity that you use a taxable brokerage in. And if you like the simplicity and the mobile app capability of Robinhood, then it works for you, you know? Um, I, I
yeah.
just I just fear that a lot of people are starting with a taxable account and not starting with where I feel like the majority of the people should and
Hmm.
probably are eligible to contribute to. You see, I've never made over 130 grand in my life. I mean, my annual salary is about 65,000, and that's just, I'm a single income fella. So I do what
Hmm.
I can do where I can do it. That's it. So I've been eligible my whole freaking life. So that's all I know. These folks that are talking about taxables the way they do, and that was, I think Gen X Dividend Investor, he cleared up a lot for me in that newest video that he put out
Hmm.
on dividends and compounding interest and the taxable implication within a taxable account. It was awesome. But I'm kind of bumping up against that capability because my Roths are maxed. So I felt a little bit trapped during this downturn in that I wanted to do more, but I didn't really want to buy in the taxable account because my understanding about my tax obligation was a little bit different. So I avoided it like the plague. So, but
Yeah.
I was wrong in my understanding there. So,
And I think the thing with Robinhood too, I think a lot, especially a lot of younger investors, they're not obviously they don't have commercials on M1 Finance. So if they're seeing is Robinhood, there's like, okay, wow, this is the platform I can start investing in, but not knowing that, it's essential to have a tax protected account as
yeah,
of, traditional IRA or Roth IRA, which both of them are not offered in Robinhood. So I think that's the problem too. I see it all the time on my YouTube, all these commercial ads on Robinhood. There's several of them, but there's never
yeah,
a commercial on M1 Finance. So I think that's one of the issues. A lot of these young investors probably don't even know about M1 Finance. That all they see is Robinhood.
So I'm an influencer with M1 Finance. So, you know, they're pretty strong on their inner core for their affiliate program. So they kind of do it that way as opposed to just open advertisement across a certain topic. I could be wrong about that, but they're pretty robust on their affiliate program. You know, like direct marketing, you know, using guys like me that come on and they'll put on a short video and then you know, and then you know, I get paid for those referrals basically. But I enjoy doing it because I do enjoy or M1 Finance, but it's just, you know, everything's gone to free now, Junior. So it's
Oh
hard.
yeah, free
You know,
commission.
when they came out with M1 and Robinhood, I was like, okay, this is a step in the right direction, but we got to be kind of careful a little bit here on, you know, a bigger brokers eventually stepping in and just offering free trades anyway. And that's what's happened is now everything's gone to zero. What kind of trucker are you, Junior? You see this question on the screen?
Oh well, I deliver oil, so I deliver oil and antifreeze. So I drive the box trucks for now,
Yeah.
and I go out to I go everywhere, man. I go to construction sites, Honda dealerships. I go to gas stations. So like today, I was all out in Hershey. So
I got to make a note here to check out Riley Griffith stock market videos, man. Have you watched his channel? There's so many channels now. It's hard for me to keep track of them, but Riley has been with me for a long, long time, man. I got to kick over and check out. So thanks for coming in, Riley. And I agree with that sentiment for sure. Very cool.
yeah,
So
I'll check out his channel. Yeah.
check out Victor. I bought 19,000 at Disney today. All right.
Whew.
All right. That blows my Boeing trade out of the water. My 100 shares of Boeing. Holy crap. Good for you,
Oh
Victor. That's
man,
legit. Dang. All right.
going to Disney World there.
Freaking right. I love it, man. Good stuff. You know you're old when the youngins. I'm just cruising through some of these comments here, Junior, anyway, if you don't mind. You know you're old when the youngins don't understand your references anymore, and you don't understand theirs. I'm definitely old. No, you're not. Good
Yeah,
grief.
that's true.
Yeah, I think the world is great, man. There's so much crazy technology and access to information. If you would have told me 10 years ago I'd be running a YouTube channel and doing this, I don't know. This opportunity came to me. It was kind of like a meant to be thing, you know. I was like, that makes sense to me. That's awesome. And I have a lot of fun doing this. It's when it's not about fun, Junior, I don't do it. You know, I go through swoons of uploads. Sometimes I'll upload pretty heavy. Other times I don't. I'm cool with it. I don't. I upload content when I want, how I want. It's a lot of fun that way. You know, keeps it fresh.
And the awesome thing is brings everybody together. That's what you're doing. You know, it is obviously about investing, but it also brings everybody together, and that's something that's that a lot of people don't talk about. It brings everybody together, see how everyone's doing, and it's good, man, because you don't see that a lot.
I think what you just said is the key. I really do. It's a combination of things for me, actually. Knowing what works on YouTube, like this opportunity was brought to me by JMac Investing. I didn't know how to really do this stuff. And so getting to know JMac and doing the first collaboration with him a few months ago, back fall of last year, you know, it's made me a better investor. So I don't, I look forward to these opportunities to come on because every little bit of awareness that I get, little takeaways, you said some stuff tonight that really kind of caught my attention. You know, it just makes us all better. I think it really does. It's a cool topic too, you know, and it's one that a lot of people don't talk about. You ever notice that?
Yeah, they don't.
It's like, try to go to a party, man, and just be like, "Hey, how's your portfolio?" They'd be like, "What? Are you okay, Junior? What the hell's wrong with you?" Like, dude, they do that to me all the time. They know too. They know if they talk to me about it at work, they're like, "Don't go talk to Ryan about this stuff at work, man, because he'll talk your freaking ear off. You know, you better want to talk." And I got a few colleagues who like stock talk, but a few of them don't. They're just like, you know, and a few of them, they always want to ask me stuff just to ask me, but I know that they'll never do a thing. You know, it's just all about like just.
Or they tell you that, oh, that's what rich people do. You're not rich. Why are you talking to me about stocks? You know, some people don't have that mindset.
The investing opportunity done right. I will caveat that the investing opportunity done right is the most appropriate for people that make the least amount of money.
Yeah.
That's the God's honest truth. You bet. I know lots of wealthy people, and I know I was big on Bill Ackman last week. I had a hard time with those comments, and I was justified in offering my opinion. People disagreed with me. That was fine. But there's people in this country that are working really, really hard, and abroad, all around the world, man, all around the world, that are working really, really hard, who would love to have the opportunity to just build a little bit of wealth. And I don't care if it's $25 a month. It's whatever, it's relative. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can just get along that mindset of paying yourself first, that is the key. And that's what a lot of people, if you make 25,000 a month, a year, and you're just getting by, paying the bills, and you've only got a few $100 left over out of the paycheck, this can apply to you. You just got to want to, you have to want it to apply. And then you have to feel confident in the program that you're deploying. And I hope, I'm not going to say for sure, for certain, when I have guys like you come on, it validates it for me, this very thing, that people really, really are attracted to the idea of being in control of their own money. They just don't know how in a lot of ways. And that's really a lot of the root as to why I started the channel in the first place, is because I felt like there was probably people out there that felt the same about this that I do. And it's just cool to have people come on and validate that. And I know there's rogues of people out there, thousands and thousands of people who would love to hear this message, but will never be brought to the message just because we can't get to everybody. But we'll continue to try,
No, I don't know how many numbers you have tonight. I saw it was about 100. Well, this
It
is
was
before I
good.
came on, about 120.
It
You
was like
probably got
100. It was 100 for me, and then you came on, and it bumped up to like 160. So you bring it in
it's
the
really
crowd.
100. Okay.
I don't know, man. You got to start a channel, man.
One
Some
of
people
these
go.
days, man, I will.
It's not an easy thing. Like if you start YouTube to make a bunch of money, you're probably going to fail. Really. If you're looking at YouTube to say, this is interesting, man. The way I had it explained to me was, here's a business that you can start with very little overhead and have unlimited upside potential. I was like, okay, I can live with that. We'll probably never get to 100 subscribers. No big deal. I'll just start it and do it. And the first video I filmed, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was terrible. It was terrible. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Like, I was like, did you hear when I said that? My brother's watching it and he's like, dude, that was awesome. And it was terrible, like it was just terrible because like you think you got this big idea of filming yourself, and then you go to hit play on the camera and it's like, okay, hi. It's an unnatural thing, but I think the more I evolve on this opportunity, the more my personality comes out. And the more I'm able to get the message across in the way that I want it received. And that's key for me. But
Well, at least, and you're being yourself too. I mean, there's a lot of people that'll do like, they'll have gimmicks and things. Maybe sometimes it's funny, sometimes it can be cringy, but at least
yeah,
you're, no matter what. Like for me, well, I mean, personally, I can listen to your thing for about 2 hours if I'm cooking, if I'm doing something,
nice.
so.
That means a lot to me, man. That's really cool because the watch time doesn't really equate to that. I would say if I was going to be critical of myself, I would say a lot of people think that I'm long-winded or boring, not charismatic, and all that might be somewhat true, and it doesn't appeal to the masses. Like I said, how many people really are truly wanting to come onto YouTube and consume a 2-hour live stream about finance? Be honest. And I acknowledge that. But for the people that do, there's tangible benefits on the other side. Like you may come out of it a better investor. So can't really argue with that,
Yeah, and for me, it's about information.
Say again, Junior.
Oh, so I hit the
Yeah,
mute
you
button
did.
by accident. No,
No worries.
I was gonna say it's for me. It's all about information. Doesn't you don't have to be doing backflips or doing pop lock dancing and just doing gimmicks like, oh, look at me, I'm like being all sassy. I don't know. It's for me. It's all about
I
information.
can't
Have the
do that.
information.
I can't do that. Like if I thought I could say the right thing packaged up in a 5-minute video, I would. Because I'm not looking to waste my time. I always try to catch a little bit of a nerve of what I'm trying to get through, and then build a little delivery around that, so people can watch a 5 or 10 minute video and be like, okay, right on, man. Ryan bought 6 stocks this week. Boeing, he bought the airlines, he bought the cruises. That's interesting. That's interesting to see for 10 minutes, you know? And those themes are what I kind of build from a framework a little bit. Or if there's a lesson on accounts, or, you know, what stocks to buy, or how to start, or philosophy of the market, you know, I mean, I talk about all that stuff on the channel. The idea is to try to prepare mentally. And then you can take on any market. You can take on a market like this and be like, I'm okay. You know, I'm cool. I don't own everything in my portfolio is quality. And that's, you know, that helps you sleep easy, in my opinion. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna hop on with Brian. I gotta finish this wine here real quick and check on
I
the
don't, but you got to
misses.
finish the wine, man. Come on, you got to have your priorities. Junior, thank you so much for coming on, man. It made the live stream awesome tonight, man. I really appreciate it. I never know who's going to pop on here, and that's the way I'd like to keep it. I just open up the envelope every Friday, and if nobody pops on, I just run it myself. And I think that can be a little bit different. It just adds a dynamic to have another investor come on and share what you're going on. But in all sincerity, man, good luck to you up there. I know you're in the hot zone for sure. Just stay safe for us, would you? All right. And we'll get through this for sure, man. We'll be celebrating one of these days here, hopefully shortly. I hope so.
Oh yeah, you as well, Ryan. I'll be back on. So
cool. Sounds
all
good,
right,
Junior.
take care.
Thank you so much, my brother. Take it easy, okay?
All
Later,
right,
man.
take care, man.
Yeah, man. Very cool. Thank you very much to Junior Stock Investor. I really appreciate him making his way on for the stream tonight. That was awesome. We do have a few more minutes. I'm going to try to scour through some of these questions. There was a few that I popped up there. I was engaged in some really good dialogue. There was some discussion about where I told the group that I would change as an investor at these levels. That's exactly right. I've deployed capital that was put aside. The savings I have not tapped into at all. That will remain there, and that's I stick to my guns as far as that goes. But the taxable brokerage, we were able to transition from about 23,000 up to about 35,000 this week, and that's minus the $6,000 contribution. So we did quite good this week. I didn't have a chance to offer the cruise line industry. I was asked what cruise lines I invested in. Norwegian Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean, and finally Carnival Cruise Lines were the three that I picked up in an oversold condition, sub 100. It was really down the downturn on Tuesday, and I picked those up very, very close to the bottom. It took about an 85% trading profit. And most all of those larger American Airlines and Norwegian Cruise Lines were both 85% trades. The other two, I didn't buy that big of positions in, 50 share positions in both United Air as well as Royal Caribbean. Those two companies as well were over 50% profit. So rendered profits in those in the north of 4,000. So we took those profits, as well as the Boeing trade today. Took those profits, $7,500 profit there on just the Boeing trade, and went ahead and put those into, with my newfound knowledge that I received. Again, I've already dropped my kudos to that individual. Went ahead and started to kind of build up a little bit of a position in the taxable brokerage account. My long-term vision, I think, for M1 Finance and First Trade both will be to bring those home and put those into the taxable brokerage account that I have with Merrill. I want everything under the same envelope. I did those during a time where I wanted to explore those opportunities for new investors, because at the time, free investing didn't exist. And now I just think that it really has become counterproductive, honestly, to aggressively recommend those products. I will continue to recommend M1 Finance, but I think First Trade has It's on life support as far as the independent investor channel. We'll probably give it a couple more months, and then you'll see that will be trimmed away from the channel as far as an affiliate with the independent investor channel, and we'll march on endorsing M1 Finance there. But until that happens, just giving you guys an idea of what my thought is. There's just no reason anymore to do it. I think you guys can all agree with me on that. So Matt says, I wish I had more Disney. I wish I had more cowbell, Matt. I really do. But I don't have any cowbell on me right now. But I do have a lot of Disney. And I know you do as well. So it says Oyster Bay is near me. That's awesome. Jesus. The Oyster Bay I'm thinking of is in St. Martin. So it's a beautiful place, man. Check it out. Good stuff. Cruising down here, only 51 shares at $100. So that I think that's probably the Boeing trade. I don't know if Matt's holding. I don't know. You know, it would have been okay to do so, but really, again, my explanation of it not really being an investable company. Again, I'm not. I'll declare the trade. I don't mind, but damn, I'm not going to come on here and sit here and tell you that was something that was had any type of core of investing philosophy behind it, because that's just not true. That's just not true. There was a lot of luck involved with that, and persistence on my part to really understand when the company was really being flushed out, and they picked it up at a good time. There's no doubt. So anyway, lots of conspiracy theorists in my neck of the woods too. Oh, it's not a conspiracy. I don't think. I don't know where that comes. That was shocking. I didn't think that was going to be the case. She sees people every day. Uh-oh. Quest to fire my brother's girlfriend is a nurse and stay. Oh, nice, man. You guys are getting to know each other. It's like a big family in here. I love it. It's great. I had a lot of good questions at the beginning of the feed, but there's been a lot of visitors come in and erase some of those. So I'm here, laugh out loud, soaking up all this game. Hey, for sure, man. And the whole idea here is to understand how you can take some of these things that we talk about. Honestly, the live stream is a 2-hour opportunity. I can't teach you everything. You know, I can summarize all of those little tidbits of lessons on the channel itself, but I've done a pretty good job of cataloging that. And that content is available for anybody to go back and consume. If you do resonate with the message, it's unique, and it is geared around the self-directed opportunity, folks having the confidence and the wherewithal to just take charge of their own money, where I feel like a lot of people are herded like cattle, to be honest with you, through the investing opportunity. And I think once you really embrace the self-directed opportunity, you're going to separate a lot of the benefits for yourself and understand that the benefits of self-directed investing are not available on the managed side of the house. And the quicker you can come to that realization, the more empowered you're going to be. So I really appreciate that, Q. Thank you for making your way in here. I really appreciate it. And I didn't give my shout out to Jerry for sure. You need to start wearing PJs all day. Since they say I need to stay at home. I do that, brother. So I employ you. Go ahead. Pull out the pajamas. That's fine. You might as well. There's the Zoom. Mr. Bob is in the group here. I'm firing through questions now, guys. That was really cool. I really appreciate Junior coming on. That's really a lot of fun for me. It helps on the live stream. Otherwise, I can't talk after the live stream for 2 hours. So absolutely trying to focus on the good. So I'm just cruising through here. It says, yeah, this is the great philanthropist. That's really, I'm not sure if a lot of people really understand. They really do first and foremost hold him up to the highest in investing standard for sure. But he is an extremely amazing philanthropist. Buffett will step forward and buy billions of dollars of undervalued companies. Does that count? He's probably doing that. I just haven't heard a lot of that activity going on from Warren Buffett. I was talking a little bit more along the lines of the philanthropy and that type of thing, because I know him and Bill Gates are good friends, and they usually look to step forward and take advantage of these opportunities. So says, I hear you. Right. So you guys are talking there. Good stuff. 40 billion. Whoever goes with Zoom ticker, they had to freeze it. Miguel Mendoza, Ryan, I thank you. Looking forward to Fridays for sure. I do. I look forward to this opportunity. You guys stick around. If you haven't, hit the thumbs up button for me. I guess it helps support the message really. Again, these live streams are a product that we put together, and every week we're pushing the envelope a little bit more, kind of pushing this product forward, really establishing an awesome community. And like I said, the reason why I shared that Discord chat that Gen X pushed forward is I was able to go on there, and there was a few familiar faces in there. Dave and Bob were in there both, and it was kind of cool to talk to those folks and have that opportunity for support at different hours of the night and or during the day. So pretty cool opportunities. That's why we push that out through the channel. I don't mind being an advocate for those good products either. So I highly encourage you, man, jump over there and join that and pick out that group that's appropriate for you. I enjoyed the dividend stock investing group. I thought that was pretty cool. But you guys can join whatever topic that you want. Certainly, sports, Bitcoin, Forex, whatever you want. He's done a good job of kind of separating the topics, and that way it separates the traffic a little bit. I like it. I like how he set it up. It's really good. Anyway, this is a good place to learn. I hope you feel that way, Bob. I think you do, and it wouldn't be the same without you. I really appreciate your time coming on and making these live stream as fun as they are. Kyle's pretty good about just like kicking on every other Friday. He's busy, man. He bounces around a lot, so Kyle's welcome here at any time. He knows that for sure, and he brings a lot of energy to the table, man. He's doing a good job. I saw his new video this week. He took a little uptick in his portfolio, which is good. You get a little validation. It feels good, to kind of say, hey, all right, maybe the bleeding stopped, at least for the short term. We'll see what happens. But he put out a video out today. Some of you guys are on a daily upload schedule. I won't be doing that. I can't find the motivation to do that. Learning from the mistakes is valuable for sure. Yeah, that's totally true. I think we're always trying to push the envelope forward on really promoting a very defined way of investing that a lot of people can resonate with. Junior kind of touched on it tonight. Like, hey, I didn't have Disney in my portfolio. It was time to add it. I got my entry. Boom, I added it in there. Visa, technology company that I really wanted to push in the portfolio. Boom, I did it. Those are those moves right there that he picked up that skill somewhere, and just goes to show to me that it can be scaled to the masses. I like that because it just amazes me how many people want to seek out investing, but do so in a very irresponsible manner. And we're really looking to curb that. Try to get as close to perfect as an investor as you can, full well knowing that you'll never hit perfection. Okay. But there are some good there's some right things to do. And then there's a lot of, if not infinite, ways of doing things wrong. Okay. So you just got to be very, very careful on what you're doing there. Dave said M1 is not for trading. I tell you what, Dave, when I came out with this video, I got a lot of heartache with this, and it was just my honest opinion. I think you're right on the money. I think it's not for trading. However, I don't want to sit here and it would be very, very hypocritical of me to come on and say trading is not a viable opportunity. I don't believe that in the least. I prove that all the time. And I may be going against traditional ways of investing, but what the hell does that mean? You know what I mean? I need to have a platform that's conducive to how I am as an investor. And I think a lot of beginning investors, yes, just need to become passive to start. I get that. But man, why not have this ace up your sleeve to have the ability to take profits when you want, how you want, at your leisure, free of charge, I might add. And just it's really a deficient thing with M1 Finance, the ability not to do that. And with half a dozen other options out there, why go for a subpar option? And hate to chalk it up that way, but that's my honest opinion. And I say that with 2 accounts. I have 2 accounts with M1 Finance, but my criticism, I don't hold back, and I'm an affiliate with them, but they need to clean up their act and get it figured out. It's just that simple. Otherwise, they're going to lose out. They may not, but they should. They really should. See Crest out. I need to get a mic so I can drop it at the end of this. I think it'd be funny. They moved auto invest to 25. Yeah, that was a good move. I think anybody should probably start with a minimum of 25, but I think they were probably getting tired of people buying, 3 cents of Amazon stock. I don't know if you can do that. I'm just saying, people look at it and they're like, I'm going to buy Amazon. I've got, $12. Can I invest? Well, yeah, the answer is yes, but I don't know how far that 0.000000002 shares of Amazon is going to go for you. It'd probably take you 678 years to get up to 1 share. So it's kind of a futile effort at that point. So anyway, thinking about upping, Sequest to Fire. Yeah. Been thinking of upping my weekly $10 contribution for share Forster Hand. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's why they did it. I really think it was for the masses of people who are joining the platform and investing a significant less than that. But who knows? But the major brokers will reimburse you for the transfers. Yeah. So Bob, you bring up a really good point. All the major brokers do this. Okay. You'll usually be awarded a penalty to leave and then an incentive to come into. This is an exercise I've been through many, many times in my life, as I don't have that much loyalty to the brokers that I am no longer with. I do have loyalty to Bank of America, Merrill. I think they're phenomenal. I'm very, very sold on them. I'm very happy. I believe I would be happy with Fidelity or TD Ameritrade or Charles Schwab as well. That's the consensus of the group. But if you are not happy with your broker, do not hesitate to. This might be one of those times to where you look at your portfolio and you're like, okay, I'm satisfied with what I have, but I'm looking at doing a rollover into a new account. This might be a time for you to just do a like-in-kind transfer. You can just transfer the assets from, for example, a Roth IRA over to another Roth IRA with, let's say, Fidelity or TD Ameritrade. So if you feel like the grass is a little greener on the other side, just use our awareness perspectives here on some of these major brokers to help you with your decisions. I know there's a lot of people that are happy with Chase. They're happy with Ally. They're happy with M1 Finance. I get it. Okay. And if you're happy, that's lovely. But always looking up your game and making sure that you're consolidating your accounts and keeping them to the best of your ability on one drop point. I think that helps for organization, in my opinion. Okay. Just increased your weekly by 100%. Yeah. Good stuff. All right. It was nice when I got mail from Fidelity and Vanguard. Good stuff, man. A good friend, all good, is in here, man. She went with, what is it with you guys and the bacon, man? Freaking Dave. I swear. Dave has got to have probably the most freest personality I've ever seen. Every group has got to have a Dave. It's that simple. He's just that guy. I would love to have that ability that Dave has, but I don't have it. He does, and that's great. Just a funny guy. Thank you, all good. And there he is. Speak of the devil. So he's back. He is back from Whole Foods. I'm sure that was a lovely experience. I'm trying to go to the supermarket as little as I possibly can. But anyway, he's bringing the bacon from Whole Foods for sure. Not tonight. The battery's dead. It's always something, right, Dave? There's Tim Tellers, my good friend. Sorry to get you in so late here, Tim. Usually when I have a guest on, it's hard for me to get to questions. But I've jumped from broker to broker and have finally landed with Fidelity for sure. I think that's a lifelong broker. And that is the goal. I'd love to see all you guys find that platform either through research or actually just, feeling through the broker and understanding what functionality it has, how easy it is to use, how user-friendly they are, how well you like it, and then eventually kind of set roots down and stay with them, because the more familiar you are with the reports, functions, the tax documents, those types of things, it's going to make all that stuff a lot easier as you become more familiar with those platforms. So super important. Okay, there's Sarah. Don't fuel his fire, please, Sarah. Please. He doesn't need any more. He doesn't need any more encouragement, man. Look at this guy. I tell you what, man, he was running that Discord chat like a champion. That was pretty awesome. I love good beer. Absolutely. All right. We're almost to the end here, guys. I'm going to go all the way to 2 hours. So I've got 7 more minutes. If any of you guys have any last alibis for me, you can throw them in here to the group. But appreciate you guys making this another very, very successful live stream for me. Independent, you might have to take a trip west to the Kentucky for some good. Yeah, so my favorite bourbon in the entire world is Rowan Creek. So that's the, if you have a drink of Rowan Creek, your life, it's like the fountain of youth, man. It's like the Ponce de Leon, baby. It's like that good. It's like so good. I would hoard that stuff. I would invest in it, actually. Rowan Creek. Please, if you do live there, Adrian, have a drink for me, man. And you're absolutely correct. If I was going to take a trip, he says, take a trip to west to the Kentucky, Tennessee area. Man, I'm right above you. Okay. I'm in Virginia, for crying out loud. I'm from Oregon, but I've been all over, man. I've been Texas, Michigan, New York. Yeah, I'm good. I love this country. I've been all over. That's an area I'd like to check out a little bit. I look at property in Tennessee. It's beautiful. But thank you for the invite. I really appreciate that. But take me up on that. Rowan Creek. I believe it's from Kentucky, I believe. North Carolina-ish, maybe Tennessee. You'd have to check, but it's an old timer. It's one guy, I guess, who started it, and it's a small batch distillery. It's amazing. It does a great. It's incredible. It's change your life. It'll change your life, man. I'm telling you. Fountain of youth. It's incredible. So Dave and Buster's is a good place, Doc. Gosh, yeah. I mean, shoot, if you can make money with it, yeah. Not really my style. Not really my style. It was a stretch for me with the airlines and Boeing and not just necessarily Boeing. I'm still an investor. I still own 10 shares of it in the Roth, which are very, very depressed shares. And this helped me actually make up a lot of that and then some. So I actually covered that position and it's all profit now from here in the trenches. So we're going to allow those 10 shares to work. Nonetheless, I'm not really looking at some of these companies are really interesting that they're so far down the line. Tangiers is one of them from the outlet mall perspective. They're a good operator. They're down in the single digits. You know, Halliburton, some of these companies, it's just weird to see them in single digits. But you just got to be very selective. And I would just say, buy the quality and live to fight another day. Okay. That's super important. Says Jack and Coke. I love it. Good stuff. I'll take a Jack and Coke for sure. Yeah. Crown Royal and bacon for me. Jesus, really? Try that vanilla Crown Royal. It's like candy. Yeah. Just some of the finer things in life, guys. If you're tired of watching your portfolios go down, go get yourself some vanilla Crown. You'll be happy you did. And don't mix it with anything, not even ice. All right. Good stuff, man. Where should I focus? Here's Chris Kessler. It's awesome. Great to see you. It's not really nice to see folks popping in. I have a few questions at the end of the stream, and hopefully you're still in here because most of the very devoted people stay here at hour 2 in the live stream. But where should I focus as a new 61-year-old investor? I have 30,000 to invest. It really just depends on what your goals are for that money. Obviously, 50, 60, 70s, it just really just depends on what type of wealth you've been able to create over your life. If it's your first time looking at the investing opportunity, you really need to ask yourself why invest. I will answer this question in an interesting way and say that, look, it's probably more intriguing to be entering into the market now than it was a month ago, you know? And so I can maybe glean from this comment that you're looking to be a little more optimistic and maybe invest that money. But please understand, my question back to you is important. You need to understand why you're putting any level of money at risk, right? Why? Is it to live off of later on into your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond? Um, what is your tolerance to the market? If you've been paying attention to this market, it's done nothing but dole out some really hefty lessons for people who may or may have not been prepared for investing. I think the opportunity in good quality companies, that of which we talk about all the time. I mean, the best of the best. You can pick up, where Gen X dividend investor would invest in a Colgate, Palmolive, or a Procter and Gamble or a Kimberly Clark, something like that. I would absolutely look at those names, some good staples stuff. They've run up a little bit, regulated utilities, things like that. That'll give you some opportunity for a little bit higher yield. I just disclosed I picked up some Southern Company and some Duke Energy. I like Dominion Energy. I've been very, very forward with that. But to earn some dividend income would be nice, and making sure that you're investing in the highest of quality. I certainly don't want to see, anything outside of just very specific quality Coke, things like that. And then also, ETF investing is very attractive right here, off 35% in the market. Again, I was becoming a little bit more passive and starting those positions right at the height of the market. And now those positions have really drawn back a little bit and become more attractive. So if you were looking at a product like an S&P 500 product, I think you'd be really, really in a good position to put a small amount to work in there. 10 shares right here is going to be a couple $1,000. So you can, kind of do the math a little bit. A $10,000 block is going to really buy you some really good exposure to the S&P 500, which is 508 of the largest and medium cap companies in the U.S. stock market. Companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, all the way down the list, Apple Computers. So it's going to give you that exposure to all 508 of those companies. So that's another good way of seeking out some exposure. That's an aggressive way of investing. And that's why it's a hard question to answer. And I come back to the why invest. What are you looking to get out of the money? Are you looking to establish generational wealth? That's one of my goals. So you just need to really answer those questions for yourself. And then the product piece that we put into the portfolio, there's a lot of great products out there. Johnson and Johnson, Pfizer, all the best companies. From an awareness perspective, I don't typically talk on this channel about finding the next best thing. I really like to talk about the stuff that's really the most obvious stuff out there, the very best of companies that we love and know. Home Depot, the list can go on and on. I think Walmart is a good buy right here. Companies like that I think Target is a good buy right here. Things like that. And I think you could probably come up with a nice short list of stuff that can work for you in answering that question. And please forgive me as I don't come out and just answer the question outright, but I'm not really bound to doing that. But hopefully that helps you in your direction, and good luck to you. It is really a good time to enter the market, as long as you don't enter it and then freak out the next day because it's down 1,000 points, because this seemingly is the norm here in the stock market. I was down $6,000 today and I was happy. Where the market was down 1,000 points, and it just felt different than last week. That's just my pulse. Maybe something that helped me buffer it was the stock buys that I made today. I was very, very excited with expanding the portfolio in some of those positions. And we'll be very, very happy to see those positions work as the market does end up coming back. So Are you interested at all in Boeing or at any of the airlines going forward as a potential long-term investment? Well, so Chris, I did take a stab at Boeing. I picked up 100 shares at $99.30. I exited the position today at $170 a share. So it was a trading position. It was one of those companies. I could tell you a lot more negative about the company than I could positive. The irony in Boeing is that the positives surrounding the company were all 3-4 months removed. And good news, okay, 737 coming back, etc., picking up on government contracts. There was a lot of cancellations of orders. There's a caveat in the contract for Boeing customers not to take delivery of said aircraft until FAA interest were satisfied. Lots of stuff that were intriguing, but honestly, I don't know where this current pandemic is going to end up. Okay, so if there is a prolonged problem and downturn directly affecting the cruise industry and the airline industry, it's going to affect these. And you say, well, Ryan, why did you buy the stock? I bought the stock for a volatile trading opportunity. I took those opportunistic positions, and at $7 a share, I was willing to hold Norwegian Cruise Lines for the long term if it ended up going to $2 a share. It ended up doubling. And so I exited the entire wad and lived to fight another day. And those new positions that I entered into, I disclosed during this live stream, that's where a lot of those profits went to, is to leverage them into some of those higher quality, lower beta, higher dividend paying stocks. And I'm really stoked, guys. I'm very, very excited to pull that. It was the jack move of the century, to be honest with you. I'm satisfied with it. Do not try to copy that type of activity. To answer your question, is Boeing an investable company right here? No, it's not. There's way too many headwinds, and there's way too much other quality out there that you could invest in, as opposed to try to take a long-standing shot in Boeing. Now, if you had an established portfolio, yeah, sure, I can see where a position in Boeing can work long-term. Do I think the company is going to 250 a share in the medium term? Yes. Do I think it'll get back up to 300 or 400 a share? Yes. They have that kind of earning potential. But you need to be willing over the 3 or 4 or 6 months to weather a very serious storm. And I was already up 70% in the name. It was just time to take profit. It's that simple. And that's what makes sense to me. And what made sense to me to liquidate the 100 shares, it makes the same amount of sense for a 28-year-old like a Matt Money to hold on to 58 shares, because he's got his entry at 100. He's happy too. He's sitting on fat profit. It's awesome. And that's the whole deliberation, is what's good for me is good for me. What's good for him and the next investor is good for them. And that's the beauty of it. We're all looking to win in this gig. That's the gig. And I say many, many times, the bottom line is money. Okay. It's money. And until you hit the sell button, that money's not yours. Okay. It's on loaner. Okay. Yeah, they give you a little bit of shed some light around that. That was a good question. Thank you. I appreciate that. So Chris, I don't think people are going to fly anytime soon. Yeah, maybe. I tend to think that people are a little bit more resilient than that, and I think people will resume flying. Absolutely. I really do. I believe once there's more that is known about this current episode that's going on, I think people are going to return to flying sooner than you say there. That's just my thought. Honeywell and Caterpillar for industrials, absolutely. I did enter into Leggett and Platt today. I do already own Caterpillar, and I do own UTX. The merger with Raytheon did get approved today, guys, and that was kind of overshadowed a little bit by the crap that came through, down 1,000 points. But the Raytheon merger, and I hear anything about the split of the company, but I think that's part of the package as well. So that's exciting to see how that'll roll out and see how those shares split across their 3 divisions, and then to pick up and absorb Raytheon, which I think is just a phenomenal company. Lockheed Martin, why not throw Lockheed in there as well? Lockheed's really done well through this downturn. So, oh my God, Vanilla Crown and root beer. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good. It's like ridiculous. It's not Rowan Creek, but it's like, I don't know, man. It's like candy. Yeah, it's like candy. I'm an adult, okay? And it's like candy. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, we're taking care of the important business tonight. I love it. Gatlinburg, awesome. My brother was just there a couple weeks ago. Love it. Now you're all on there. Crown Royal now has a peach flavor. I know. I get it, Adrian. I'm with you. Okay. I just gave you one to try, and I'm sure you're very aware of it if you're a bourbon drinker. But anyway, went a little bit of overtime tonight, but I'm trying to get down to here we go. Which streams are people asking questions on? People ask questions on this. Absolutely. I open the opportunity every 9 o'clock at on the Eastern Seaboard. So Calvin, I don't know where you're hailing from, but certainly I'm available via direct message. I offered the chat, the Discord chat. I'm gonna like going on there a little bit more frequently. That's Gen X's product, but I'm available through the channel as well. But I open up this opportunity for 2 hours. You just happen to be coming in. I'm working a little bit overtime tonight on this live stream. But if you have something, shoot it at me. And if you don't get to me by the end of this live stream, shoot me an email. It's no problem. I do have a Facebook group where these discussions are going on around the clock. And those opportunities are made available through Instagram, although Instagram is a little more personal to me, as well as a Facebook page that I have. So I'm as accessible as I want to be, and that's good enough. But yeah, thank you. If you have something direct, man, for sure, hit me up. I'll help you out in whatever you got going on, whatever you're deliberating on right now. There's a lot to be deliberated on right now in the stock market for sure. What's Gen X got to say? Yeah, Dave is as close to a hippie. Awesome, man. Very cool. I love it, man. Yeah. So thoughts on Roku? I tell you, just it's amazing to me. Gosh, man, I've seen these stocks come over the years and they've gone. I'm a user of Roku. I like the product, but if you're going to buy a quality company here, buy Google. Buy something that's not. I don't know. I just think it may be potentially one of those things. I'm not really sure why their service is so exclusive, why they're a better option than Netflix, which I do invest in, but I just am not that excited about it, to be honest with you. I think they burn through a ton of money to provide content to people, and that typically does not stand the test of time. You want to know what stands the test of time? Tide. Seriously. Oreo cookies. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck, but there's some truth in what I'm saying. So the very best quality, Tylenol. Hey, we've talked about Johnson & Johnson tonight many, many times, and we'll continue to beat the drum on these good quality companies. And, there's probably 30 or 40 that you should be looking at, but looking outside of that stuff, you can probably make a lot of money with Roku. I'm not going to tell you that you're not, but is it an investable company for the long term? I don't know. I'd have to take a look at it, which it wouldn't be a company that I would do a deep dive in anyway. It really wouldn't. I don't invest that way. There's just a ton of other companies I'd rather own right here. Roku is not one of them. That's just me. All right. I love hippies. I know my dad was too. I cut the cable. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. You guys keep throwing a bunch of comments in here. So listen, guys, we're over 2 hours. I typically like to keep this under control a little bit. Absolutely appreciate Junior Stock Investor for making it a very cool and enjoyable live stream to me. Thanks again for all the channel creators that have come on to the group. Really appreciate it, man. If there's light at the end of the tunnel yet, Not sure. Not going to make that call. But hopefully you were able to gather a little bit from my perspective, and that I don't know. I don't know. And it's okay to say that. It's okay. What I do know is what I know. And I would encourage each and every one of you guys to focus a lot more on what you know instead of where you think the market is going to go. Could it go to 15,000? Yes. Do I think it's going to? No. Therein lies a conversation and a debate that we can all have. But in my mind, that's really just speculation. And I think there's probably a lot of really good work that can be done right here in the market, that of which we talked about in this particular live stream tonight. Reviewing your portfolio, not getting emotionally involved, the separation between trading activity and investable companies, that was discussed tonight. So I really hope you guys got a lesson out of it. I hope that helps you remain strong in this and in stepping toward that ultimate goal that we're looking to step toward, man, and that's empowering each and every investor out there. So with that, guys, I will sign off. Thank you so much, and we'll be back next Friday for the next live stream. If you are interested in being a guest on the channel, I open up that opportunity every single week. Do not hesitate. Junior was great tonight. That could be you next week or the follow-on weeks. Please plan it out and take your opportunity as appropriate. So with that, guys, I'll sign off and we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great weekend.